All right, so I meant to get this video to you yesterday, and then I was like, I could do a video today. Or I could play through the game again on New Game Plus, get that last trophy so I can get my platinum, so I did that instead. Which I guess is a testament to this game and how fun it is, because I wanted to play through it again. So there is that. Anyhow, we have work to do. Spider-Man, Miles Morales. And full disclosure, since honesty is important, they did send me this copy for free, but my thoughts are still my own. I mean, turns out I like Spider-Man, so it's probably a smart move on their part, but still. Spider-Man Miles Morales is a new Spider-Man game in the vein of the Spider-Man game that came out for PS4. It's the same world as that game. In that game, you saw the intro of Miles Morales, and now Miles has his own game in which you play as him. One of the things I will say right out the gate, if you were a fan of the Spider-Man game before, you're gonna jump right into this. It's kind of like riding a bike in terms of the punch, 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 launch an enemy, swing, kick an enemy. Those basic moves are the same, so you can get right into it from there, swinging around the city. You have your scavenger hunt elements in here. But the game goes to great lengths to let you know that you are not playing as Peter Parker. This is a different person. And they do it wonderfully, right from the music. The music in this, okay. The soundtrack should have a vinyl release. And when they do, it is going to be mine. I mean, I have it right now on compressed, muddy-ass MP3, but this soundtrack is worthy of the vinyl release. That's inevitably going to happen. Because the music sounds familiar when you're swinging around New York. You're like, this is the Spider-Man music, but it has that hip-hop beat to it. It's so epically mixed to give it that Spider-Man flavor, but also Miles Morales. Also, the way he moves is different. When you're swinging around the city, there's something clumsy yet stylish about it. He's not just swinging, he's falling with style. And I like the fact that he moves differently than Peter Parker. It would have been so easy for them to be like, well, I mean, we do have the swinging animations from the previous game. We can just put Miles Morales clothes on there, the Miles Morales Spider-Man suit, and look at that. Voila, new Spider-Man. And it would have been so easy to do. It just would have been lazy as shit. But they didn't do that. They went out of their way to make you feel like, oh, this is not Peter Parker. This is Miles Morales. Complete with new moveset, because Miles Morales Spider-Man has different moves than Peter Parker Spider-Man. You can turn invisible, you have Venom Strike, really powerful things you can upgrade in here. Though on a couple of those stealth missions, I was like, I could really go for some impact webbing. I'm just saying. But that's to the point. If you mastered the previous Spider-Man game, the new moves in here, it's like, but you haven't mastered these, so you have things to learn here. New moves as well as new outfits, which when I unlocked the Spider-Verse outfit, I used that for a solid portion of the game. And I love the fact that they have this mod that you give the suit that makes him move in the frame rate from the movie. That's a good bit of fan service, and I just love that. I also love that outfit where he has the jacket and the hood. That's just a cool looking outfit. But most importantly, the character of Miles Morales you're playing as, the family dynamic, the supporting characters, how are they? They're the ones who are going to bring me into the game and make me really care about Miles Morales. And yeah, it pulls it all off. When Spider-Man takes off, Miles is now New York's only Spider-Man for the next few weeks. And he has to step up in some really big ways to save the day. I mean, I love Spider-Verse and all. Like his intro in the PS4 Spider-Man and Spider-Verse, I was like, oh yeah, I like the kid, he's cool. But now I'm like, I like Spider-Man. He's Spider-Man. I mean, Peter Parker's also Spider-Man, and that's why Miles is kind of a gold standard of how you introduce a new character to be a new hero with the same name as the old hero. They don't replace each other, they don't cancel each other out or anything, but you welcome him with open arms because Miles is fucking awesome. He's a good kid, he has a good heart, he just wants to do right. He exhibits the qualities I like about Spider-Man. I got attached to him, I got attached to his family. I mean, the whole scene with his dad in Spider-Man PS4 game, yeah. I mean, that stuff gets you right there. You're like, oh, that's a hook. Oh man. I mean, the family dynamic is an important element in a Spider-Man story, to me anyway. That's a thing that hooked me when I was younger. Also, I like the villain. I mean, there are a couple people who are doing less than altruistic things in New York at this time. But point is, the main one it wants to focus on is, you get where the villain's coming from. You understand, you empathize, you sympathize. Miles Morales does too. However, this is not the way. It's one of those villain dynamics where you're like, I get why you're doing but you gotta understand what you're doing. In terms of the technical elements, not gonna get too technical, I'm not a tech channel. But it being on PS5, we gotta talk about some of the flair that PS5 has to offer with this game. First of all, the load times, yes, they're insanely short. And we know that because the previous Spider-Man game, you know, you're like, oh, fast travel, you know, and you'd be on the subway, and he's on the subway, he's just hanging out. Doesn't even give you that animation. It's like, hey, you want to fast travel? Sweet. Now you're there. Like in the previous Spider-Man game, I was like, well, fast travel's pretty relative. Generally speaking, unless it's across the city, you could probably swing there faster. Like if it's just the next sector over, that's what I found anyway. It's how it seemed anyhow. In this game, fast travel is truly just faster. Also, graphically, you have 4K at 60 frames a second or 30 frames a second with ray tracing, which is a way of saying details are better, but 30 frames a second instead of 60. First playthrough I played through with all the jazzy ray tracing. Second playthrough was at 60 frames a second. Neither of which I can show you here because I don't export my videos in 4K or 60 frames a second. But they both look great in their own way, so which one you want to do, that's completely up to you. But one thing I know for certain is PC gamers are out there like, they have to pick between the two. That's precious. Whatever. The thing that might throw some people off is, yeah, the game is comparatively short for sure. It is reflected slightly in the price and the fact that the game's $49.99 instead of $59.99. We're gonna round, it's 50 bucks instead of 60 bucks. Now, if you're gonna compare it, I don't know if the previous Spider-Man game is 20% longer than the Miles Morales Spider-Man game to 100% reflected in the price. I don't think so. I think the gap between the two is a little longer, and that's where you have to keep in mind they sent me the game for free. This is part of the reason I don't like getting shit for free in terms of review, but I like getting things for free because it kind of feels cool. But just keep in mind when I say, like, the game is still fun, you know? Like, would I drop 50 bucks on this game? Yeah, I mean, it's $50 worth of fun if you're going around picking up all the stuff, and that's what I'm saying here, is all the side quests go into the price. Whereas when I'm usually buying a game, I like the core story to feel like a full game, and then, okay, we can have a bunch of side quests that really beef it up and really pad it. Now, to get your money's worth out of this game in terms of length, you have to do all the side quests. Because when I did New Game Plus, you keep all your gear, so you're just powered up, ready to go. You can go right through the core game. You don't even have to do the side quests, and in that, man, it's not that long. The core game is pretty short, but this game played it in the pocket and gave me what I like, which is a great story about a hero who doesn't start out feeling like a hero. And through that, you get attached to him. It's an inspiring story, it really is. I wanted to go around and clean up all the crime, not just because I wanted to feel like I played a complete game, but because I wanted to be the hero that Miles is. I loved Into the Spider-Verse, but there's something about a well-constructed game that will get me more attached to the main character. It's the way it is. And this game is that. I thought Spider-Man Miles Morales was a worthy successor, spin-off, whatever you want to call it. It was a worthy Spider-Man game with a worthy Spider-Man hero that I'm happy to call Spider-Man. Alright, so Spider-Man Miles Morales. Have you played it? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.